HollyShorts Film Festival. I am one of your hosts today, Indiana Underhill, DP and co-founder of Cinematography for Actors, and we also have one of our partners, Florian Anderson, who is a director, writer, and actor. So I am stoked to be sitting here with two of the filmmakers from The Fountain. We have Scotty Felix, who is the writer and director, and Cory Geher, who is the DP. We love a DP directing duo on here, so I'm stoked to get into it. We only have 10 to 15 minutes. So before we dive into the nitty gritty, can you talk to us, Scotty, about The Fountain, what it's about?
Well, thanks for having us.
Of course.
Super excited to be here. The Fountain is more or less it takes place during like an Arthurian century, like 13th century timeline, and it follows an old man who is led to a forest by a spirit. And at one point she tells him she can't go with him anymore, and he has to travel in there alone. And we learn that he's searching for a certain fountain that has a liquid that has some type of enchanted material in it. And in that forest, he across a witch, and some things happen. So
This is fun. I love this also as a short because I'm like, let's dive into all of these things.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot to tackle, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And so you two have worked together quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking before this. When he came with the script to you, first thoughts?
Yeah. Well, we have a production company together called
Solid.
the Sunflower Pictures, so we collaborate on sort of all things front to back. So we kind of had a theme in mind for this film, and we talked about it, and this was kind of an exercise for us.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier this year, we were in prep, or all through the year, we've been prep for a film that we're in post for now. And last year we spent a ton of time doing commercials and music videos. So getting back into the narrative space, we kind of wanted to just get our brains around that type of filmmaking again. So we kind of challenged ourselves to get in there and make a narrative film. And that's what this was. So we kind of gave ourselves like maybe a week to kind of come up with an idea, get the pieces together, and shoot it.
Impressive.
And, it's a proper short. I think it's 5 minutes. So it's you get in, you get out. So we kind of talked about this theme of like regeneration was sort of like the seed that was planted, and then Scott came up with the concept, and we kind of talked about it, felt good about it, and then he wrote the script. And one big thing about it was like, let's make this achievable with like a group of friends in the woods, very low profile, like run and gun guerrilla film school style. And
Fun.
that was like the motivation. And so yeah, I mean, I kind of knew what it would be before the script was written. And then he came to me with the script, and it was like, yeah, this is doable. We both produce all the stuff we do. So
Nice.
it was like, let's make something creative and tangible and achievable. That's also like, we're going to put up a little bit of money and get our friends out there and just go do it. And that was sort of like the packaging that we went into it. And then it was also just like, after working with heavy clients for a whole year, it was like, let's be the client. Let's not have any, the only roof we have right now is like the scope, but like other than that, creatively, let's do what we want to do. And it was very refreshing, and I think it like kind of comes through in the work in the film. So
Incredible. One of the things, as a DP, you're experimenting a lot with music videos, especially as a director and DP duo.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so what kind of stuff were you interested in bringing into The Fountain that maybe you had experimented on and had success with in the music video world?
Well, I think for the music videos, we're always trying to push like narrative in it. We're never really trying to just do like a performance-based video, even though those are like a lot of fun. It's just like not really like our strength, I would say. Even if it's a simple narrative, that is usually what we're chasing in music videos. So we were able to implement obviously all that into this short film, but like the camera movement that we always try to have is very like surreal at times, and having characters like look into the camera and breaking the fourth wall. And I love when characters are like especially on the big screen, like in a theater like this, like looking directly in the audience. So that was like something that was like super important to us, is like the essence of having this whole thing of the fountain, basically having it to where like the audience is essentially like shifting from like Elfrith, who's the main character's name, the old man. You're like shifting from being Elfrith in one shot, and then in like the same like unbroken shot, you're also shifting into like being almost like a tree in the woods, watching him like move away from you. So it's very like trying to distort the reality of like, are you the character or are you like watching this take place? So
are you trying to achieve this in camera, or is this like post with like swipes and reveals and
In
things like
camera,
that?
yeah.
In camera,
For
cool.
For this one,
Great.
anyways. Yeah.
Fun.
I mean, I think kind of to go off of that as well. You know, at the beginning of last year, we had a conversation because we had done a big short film the year prior, I guess 2 years ago now, and did the whole PR campaign and all that stuff. And the last year when we did all the music videos and commercials, we kind of, to go off your point, we told ourselves like everything we do in these projects, this is training for the feature films.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
these are a means right now. So it's kind of like, let's try stuff in these and then, you know, apply them, right? So, and in the same way, with the fountain, we were using the fountain. We used all of that to go into the fountain, but really we were using things, mechanisms with the camera, especially in the fountain, that were testing like kind of concepts for how we would film a scene for the bigger film that we're in post for now.
Fantastic.
So kind of again utilizing the fountain as an opportunity to like try things before we get to the bigger thing that was coming up. So
yeah, that's why it's so cool to be here, because we just like went into the forest to like just kind of like
Totally.
stretch our you know muscles, and then figured out we got accepted here, and we're like, okay, sweet, that's like awesome. Let's
Yeah.
go.
like a
you know?
nice little cherry on
It
top.
absolutely
yeah.
is. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think I saw that you shot it in black and white. Was it a technical restriction that you imposed on yourself? Like you were saying, we want to have the form as a medium. What was the thought process behind it?
Well, I think we, like with going off what Cory said, there was so much limitations with budget and resources to where like we didn't have sound on that day. You know, so we're like, okay, the characters are going to be talking telepathically, and
Awesome.
we made rules within the forest that fit like the supernatural world, but like the black and white was to always give that like sense of nostalgia, and also with it being low budget and us like having thankfully proper costumes in there that like felt real, it adds another layer of nostalgia and realism to it, I think, when it's black and white, because you're not like judging it in full color and full
Absolutely.
scope, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, who doesn't like black and white too,
Yeah,
you know?
you know, it's a little
Absolutely.
cheat code.
Yeah.
You know, everything kind of looks good in black and
Florian
white.
was like loving the poster.
Yes.
Loving the
Oh,
poster.
yeah.
So that's a lot
Such
of
a great
fun.
one.
Yeah.
That was we've had a lot of fun with just like playing with just, I don't know, it's just been fun from all aspects of like filming the thing and like even come up with like the poster and
Yeah.
low stakes, you know,
Yeah,
for us.
yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it almost creates a opportunity to
Yeah.
play around. a
big
little
sense
bit
of
more.
relief.
Now let's talk about casting a little. So you're not working with clients. You're not working with artists. You're working with a different type of artists.
Yeah.
You know. But how did you go about the casting process? And then once you'd chosen those actors and you were on set, what was the communication like between the both of you and talent?
Well, when I wrote the script, we were looking at casting and we were like, we don't really know too many like older actors really, but
There was
did
one.
but we did know
We can read each other's minds. It's
Little
you
bit.
know, yeah, right?
it's a
We were
little creepy,
leaning
it's a little
into
creepy
the-
sometimes.
Yeah,
Leaning
I
into
love
that
that.
telepathy, but
That is so fun. What was the communication like with talent? Or is it
Hmm.
a little more fluid and free flowing because you have the relationships prior with cast? Or is it you go, you know, over here and you're like, okay, can we give this note? Or is it free that you're able to give this note?
Well, I mean, Cory can speak on it more than I can, but I think that every actor that like works with us, they know that, or they get to know
Yeah.
that like we have a very specific style of visual language,
Yeah.
and that's just like the way that we like to film. But Cory's very masterful at being able to communicate with those things, and he can
yeah, I
dive
mean,
more into it.
if it's like something, if it's a note that I feel like is very emotionally driven or story driven, I'll vet it with Scott
Yeah.
first. But if it's something technical, it's usually, you know, when we go into a film, we storyboard everything. We know the shots, we know the edit. I'm usually editing it with Scott next to me, so it's very
So
much
great.
like
Yeah.
front to back, right?
Yeah.
So we create like rules for us to follow and shots for us to get, and you always obviously have to adapt, but for the most part it's kind of, we know what we're getting in there to do. So when I'm telling a talent, you know, look this way or that way, or you know, adjust your shoulders, it's like we trust each other to know that it's like for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Wow.
if Cory signs off on the frame, I'm like, I don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We have to wrap things up. One of the things I'll say is, so it's CFA, one of Cinematography for Actors. We're all about bridging the gap between talent and crew. And a lot of that is, how do we tell the same story? Because the best stories are told when we're all on the same page and we're all working towards the director's vision. And I have no doubt that with your duo and your collaborative process, that's exactly why a film that, a week, you've wrote it over like 1 week and then made it,
like 2 days.
and then made it,
yeah.
and it's having so much success is probably due to the ability that you guys have to have incredible collaboration on set and off set. So thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And everyone can check out The Fountain Wednesday the 16th at noon. If you are not here, there's no excuse, because the virtual festival is also ongoing, and that is streaming on bitpixtv.com. We have Scotty Felix, writer and director, and Cory Geher, the DP of The Fountain. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.